actor Neal McDonough is giving Pedro Pascal a run for his money. Now, you know McDonough, you've seen him in Band of Brothers, in Yellowstone, Justified, and more. But lately, it's much more. The dude is busy, en fuego, as a sports commentator might say. He's recently appeared in The Last Rodeo, which was excellent. He was in The Shift, Homestead, of course, Tulsa King, the great Paramount Plus show with Sylvester Stallone, just on fire. And he's back in theaters everywhere this weekend. The new film is called Guns and Moses, and it's about a gun-toting rabbi seeking to solve a mystery that really strikes close to his home and his heart.
These murders didn't just happen to some people on TV. They happened to us. And their killer is still out there walking around among us.
That sounds like an unconventional movie. Well, it is. And of course, maybe one of the many reasons why Neal McDonough is part of the cast. Now, Neal has a key role in the film. He plays the mayor of the city where all this mayhem is taking place. And I thought, well, this movie's coming out. I'm intrigued by it. I wonder if Neal would be able to talk to us for the Hollywood and Toto podcast. Might as well give it a try. Reached out to his PR people, and they said yes. I couldn't be happier. You know, I've been talking to a lot of stars over the decades, Will Smith, Kevin Spacey, Tom Hanks, just to name a few. And I don't get verklempt too often. I got a little verklempt with Albert Brooks. That one definitely was an absolute treat. But I felt something similar with Neal McDonough. Just a fan, just admire his work so much. And he's at the top of his game. So I was just pleased to get him on the show to talk about some of the things he's gone through, including how he stuck to his faith literally when his career was on the line. Now, I don't know if you know this, but he's a person of faith and he's a Christian. Turns out he didn't want to do a romantic scene with anyone besides his actual wife. And that caused a problem behind the scenes. He started losing work because of it. And, you know, when this happens, it could spiral. I mean, just look at James Woods. He became a known conservative. People were aware of his political ideology, and the gigs just dried up. And he hasn't had a major role in some time. And he's a terrific actor. Could the same happen to Neal McDonough? Well, it didn't. Now, I think there's two things going on there. One, he just stuck to his principles. And I think that's a lesson for everyone in Hollywood or outside Hollywood. Stick to your principles, do what's right, and good things will happen. But also, he's just so good. Such a talented actor. And I think Hollywood just said, hey, got to keep working with him. He makes every film that he's in better. And he does. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Neal McDonough. I know I did. Do check out Guns and Moses, opening in theaters everywhere, July 18th. It is a banger of a film. It is unconventional, to say the least. We'll get into that in a minute. And of course, much more. Neal talks about his career, his life, working with the great Sylvester Stallone. Man, this was worth the wait. I'm so glad I got a chance to talk to him. So glad he was kind enough to share some time. See what you think. Well, Neal, thanks for joining the show. Before we get going, you've been busy. I feel like I'm always seeing you. That's a good thing. Tulsa King and Homestead and The Shift and The Last Rodeo. You were great in that. And of course, now we got Guns and Moses. When you're an actor, I know even the best actors have moments where there's lulls and gigs, but you've been busy. Does it keep the instrument sharp? Is it a challenge? Is it odd to kind of bounce from project to project, different characters? What's it been like for you in recent months?
Well, Christian, I've been so fortunate and blessed my whole career to always kind of be working. And, you know, from film or TV or documentaries or commercials, you know, I'm always just, you know, I love working. You know, God gave me a gift of being a really good actor. You know, I say all the time, I can't pound a nail. I'm terrible at jokes, but man, I can act. And that Rabbi made that quote years ago, my wife, and she's right. So if this is my God-given talent, I'm going to use it to the best of my ability to entertain people. And so, yeah, I keep working. Now that we're producing our own movies, it's even crazier as time goes. And we're about to start our 10th production, Rabbi and I. And The Last Rodeo just killed it. It did great in the box office, doing incredibly well on sales and rentals on Prime and Apple and such. And we're really blessed. And I love acting. I love being part of crews. I love being part of the whole storytelling system. When it comes to Guns and Moses, it's a film that, you know, to be part of a film that makes you think is kind of my goal.
Yeah.
You know, I love studio films. Don't get me wrong. I love the big action explosion things, and that's all fun. But I'm an actor, you know, and I love to sink my teeth into a character, whether it's a good guy or a bad guy. It doesn't matter. I love to be part of a film that is thought-provoking.
Mhm.
Guns N' Moses is pretty darn thought-provoking, especially at this time right now
Yeah.
with such a mess going on overseas. And, I always say, I'm not a political guy. I'm a God-fearing guy and trying to do the right thing to give him glory in everything that we do. And to have that kind of outlook is something I think is lost a lot, in people these days, because the news makes the world look like such an awful place. Why would you want to be part of this world, according to the news outlets? Well, for me, the world is a pretty amazing place, and I love meeting different types of people. I love meeting different thoughts. I've read every book on religion there possibly is, and they all come down to the same stuff. Honor God with everything you have,
Mhm.
and love your neighbors more than you love yourself, and serve them instead of just wanting to be served. If you live like that, there'll be a whole lot less bombs being made. There'll be a whole lot less wars going on, and there'll be a lot more people sitting around a table breaking bread thinking, oh, well, that's an interesting way to look at that. I never thought of it that way. I don't hate you because you think differently. I should learn from you because you think differently, and let's create a commonality. So those are the films that I gravitate to, and Guns N' Moses is exactly that type of film.
Yeah, one of the most amazing things about the project is that it was conceived, and I believe it might have been shot as well before the events of October 7th, and all of a sudden self-defense and attacks on, anti-Semitism is on the rise. Do you look back at it differently now? Does it land differently for you as a performer who made this project? How do you kind of process that sea change? Because it's a terrible shift, obviously, but it certainly was conceived in a different era in a way, even though it's only been a couple of years.
As if you really look at the real problem of it, those problems have been going on for thousands of years.
Mhm.
There have been many times where people have tried to erase the Jewish faith from the planet. And if we forget about that, then shame on us.
Mhm.
And I have so many dear friends who are Jewish. I have so many dear friends who are Muslim, so many dear friends who are Christian. But to forget what has happened to certain types of people,
Mhm.
well, that we're supposed to learn from it and be better because of it. Well, it seems like there are a lot of people out there who are not learning from it and are not getting better because of it, and are making the world worse in some situations. And what's going on over in the Middle East is such a horrible situation for everybody, not just one, but everybody. So I love being able to tell stories where we get to talk about these things and realize man can be really dumb at times. But sometimes man can be really great when they don't make it about themselves. And every time I make something about myself to serve myself, I fall flat on my face, Christian, every single time. Might feel good for that second. Then as soon as that's done, I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't very nice of me, was it? Or on the other side of the coin, if I'm doing things that are truly altruistic or truly about other people and serving other people, at the end of that day, I'm like, man, that felt good. I'm so glad that I did that.
Yeah.
That's something that the films at the McDonough Company are trying to do to make you feel that euphoric feeling of I helped serve the world to make it a better place. You might call it corny, but that's who I am. I want to make
Yeah.
films that make the world a better place.
I mean, I think it's really resonating with people. You mentioned the last rodeo doing well. I peeked at maybe at Amazon Prime, like the top 10 movie downloads, and it was in the top 10, or maybe top three or four. So
Yeah,
I'm
top
not
three or
surprised by
four.
that.
Yeah, so what does that say?
Yeah.
Says that America doesn't just love to see the big tent poles,
Mhm.
smash them up, explode things types of
Mhm.
films. They want to see thought-provoking films that talk to them. The
Yeah.
last rodeo was a film about family, and the
Mhm.
family was broken. What family isn't broken?
Yeah.
We've got 5 kids, and on any given day, there's going to be some kind of problem going on that we have to figure out how to fix it.
Mhm.
Now, you can figure out how to fix it through anger, or you can figure out how to fix it through compassion and trust in Him.
Yeah.
That's what the last rodeo was. The last rodeo was a family that was fractured, and he couldn't fix it because he was making it all about himself, serving himself and his own self-pity. We've all been there. We have all done that. But as soon as he gave over to faith and realized that through him, all things are possible, by the end of the film, didn't matter if he won or lost, he
Mhm.
already won. And that's what life is supposed to be about. And I love making films like that. I love making films like Guns N' Moses. I love
Yeah.
making films that make you think about how can I make the world a better place?
One of the things I noticed about Guns N' Moses is that it's a bit of a Western. It's certainly a mystery. There were some action scenes in there as well, a lot to chew on. There's a lot of redemption in the film. And even there's an early scene, I don't want to give away too much, involving a brownie and sort of the characters not willing to write off other people in their lives, even though by all accounts they should be written off. I thought that was a beautiful touch to the film. Can you talk about, I mean, again, I don't want spoilers for obvious reasons, but maybe I like that about the screenplay so much. Any thoughts on that particular part of it?
I think everyone who goes to see Guns N' Moses will take something different because there's so many different ideas going on
Mhm.
and there's so many different thought processes. But I think you'll come out of it thinking hate is not the right choice. Understanding compassion is.
Mhm.
And yes, it's a thriller. Yes, it's a neo-Western, which I love. You know how much I love my Western. Look, I'm like the Western guy. My kids
Yeah.
make fun of me. Dad, do you have any other clothes but blue jeans? I'm like, no, I don't. I finally get to do Western, so I finally get to clothes and wear the clothes I'm comfortable in.
Yeah.
But it's Guns N' Moses has so many different types of genres all rolled into one film. But at the end of the day, it's about trying to forgive and trying to understand
Yeah.
instead of trying to hate and taking the people who are hating and making them realize that you made the wrong choice.
Mm.
And whether you're Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, doesn't matter. If there are more films like this put out into the landscape,
Mhm.
I truly believe it'll make the world a better place. And I love that Sal went out on a limb and says, I'm going to make this film. We're going to shoot it for 20 days.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of film. Let's all do the best that we can. He got everyone charged up to be the best that they possibly could. Dermot Mulrooney, Mark, myself, everyone else in the cast.
Mhm.
It's a great cast.
It
And it's
is.
a really great story. And the way
Yeah.
he filmed it was even better. So if you want eye candy, you want a cool film with a great message, and you
Mm.
want some action and a neo-Western backdrop, you're really going to love Guns N' Moses. And I think it's going to do very, very well.
You know, the some of the themes are tricky. I mean, self-defense, the Second Amendment comes up, and that, I think this is the kind of movie your average agent would say, maybe you steer clear of. And I suspect you're at a point in your career where you can kind of leap in with 2 feet. Is that sort of maybe part of the freedom you feel now that, you can make your own films with your production company? You could work with Angel Studios, which is doing zigging when everyone else is zagging. Is there sort of a sense of creative freedom you have now, or have you always felt that way?
Well, my agent and my manager is also my wife.
Okay.
So,
There you go.
our conversations are pretty simple. I have a film coming out this weekend called Skill House,
Mhm.
and it's this thriller slasher picture where I play a horrible character in it.
Mhm.
But it's me flexing different muscles and trying different things. And my
Yeah.
dear friend Ryan Kavanaugh produced the film. He said, "Will you do this for?" I'm like, "Of course I will. Let's get it." And it was a neat idea that I never even thought of before. So I love being parts of different films. I don't want to just do one thing,
Yeah.
So the McDonough Company, if it has the McDonough Company name on it, it's going to be a film that has faith in it. It's about family. It's about overcoming situations.
Yeah.
But if I'm a gun for hire, I'm kind of free to do whatever I want. TV, movies,
Mhm.
I did a commercial last week. There's me on horseback for this new company, Horse Soldier, this beautiful, very old bourbon company that gives their money back to the vets. And I needed to be part of that because I thought it
Yeah.
was important. And PBR is part of it as well. So I'm one of those lucky guys that get to do kind of everything and with a smile on my face and enjoy it all. And
Yeah.
hopefully what I'm doing is making the world a better place and giving glory to him in everything that we do.
You recently had the chance to work on Tulsa King, a great story arc, and work with Sylvester Stallone. You've worked with so many great actors. You are a great actor, but Stallone is a legend. He's such an iconic figure in Hollywood. He's so larger than life. I was kind of curious, any reflections on working with him? I don't know if you've worked with him before, but uh, great scenes together, and the show is just pure entertainment.
I can't tell you how much fun I'm having with Sylvester Stallone. It's like, it's almost like I'm looking in the mirror. He's always working out. He takes his craft
Mhm.
so seriously, as do I.
Yeah.
But at the bottom of it all, he's a family guy. His wife is now one of the producers on the show. His daughter's in the show,
Mhm.
and for the McDonough Company, Reve and I produce our own movies, and our kids are in it. They're either working the stunt department or craft service, or we'll give them a couple lines here and there. But it's a family business, and I love that family environment, and that's what Sly is. He's all about his family and
Yeah.
doing the right thing and being a good Catholic. And he's not only one of the greatest actors I've ever been around, he's one of the greatest human beings I've ever been
Mm.
around. So to be on Tulsa King on season 2 and 3, and now season 4, which will start in October,
Yeah.
as the governor of Oklahoma now, are you kidding me, Christian? I'm having the greatest time of my life. That
Yeah.
10 years ago when I was going through all those hardships, when I couldn't get a job because of not kissing a woman, and I was drinking so much and just wallowing in my own self-pity. If
Mhm.
you said 10 years from now, you will have produced 10 movies, you'll start a TV show opposite Sylvester Stallone,
Yeah.
and your 5 kids will be, doing well at school, and you'll have this great, I would have thought you're full of it. But because I found my faith again,
Yeah.
because I went back to realizing that God has given me this amazing life. It's a gift. Treat it as a gift every single day, and honor that gift and honor other people and be a good person. All those things. Here I am, sitting on your show, Christian, talking about my career, and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more humbled by the whole experience. And I'm going to keep on doing it and going to keep making great movies for people. That's my job.
Yeah, I know that you talked about kind of being faithful and not having romantic scenes with people other than your wife on screen, and that it cost you. Do you find that Hollywood today is any more uh, empathetic to your situation or similar situations? Is it still tricky to navigate, or have you seen improvement within the industry where people who are standing up and saying, "This is what I believe in," and they're standing there and saying, "Okay, well, maybe not here, we'll work here." I mean, has there been change for the better?
Well, I think the heartland of America was just lost in the conversations for film and television
Mhm.
until the last several years, and thank goodness for guys like Taylor Sheridan,
Mhm.
who have allowed us to get back to the middle part of America and what America was built on. It was built
Yeah.
on the foundation of family and of faith and God, and like I say, it says God 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. It's on our coins. It's on our dollar bills. It's everywhere we go. And we forget about God because we're there trying to serve ourselves. Well, that's a dead end road at some point.
Mhm.
Once you realize that to be part of the greater good, to be part of God's family, no matter what your race or creed or color is, if we really are part of God's family, we
Mhm.
should be rooting for each other, and we should be building each other up and telling great stories that talk about real life situations and how you can get through it through faith. That's what the last rodeo is. That's what my life is. And last rodeo is semi autobiographical, really about me, about my struggles that I had to go through to get to the position I'm in right now. And how did I get there? I found faith again. And by finding my faith doesn't mean my religion is the right religion. My faith is there is a God that gives all of this to all of us for free. All we have to do is honor him, and you'll keep on getting all these free things, and you'll enjoy it so much more, and you won't worry about that new shiny widget that everyone needs to have. You
Mhm.
don't need it. You
Yeah.
need love, you need understanding, you need compassion, and you need to be a good person. And as corny as that might sound, that's who I am. That's who we are in our house. God first, me second, family first, me second. And that's the films that we're making.
I'm not the first one to bring this up, but you've done a lot of different kinds of roles. But boy, are you a good villain. You're just among the best of the best. Is there something cathartic about bringing that to the set and just kind of offloading it and kind of your darker impulses kind of going on the screen, and then you come home and just be a man of faith and caring for your family and being a good husband and dad? Is there something kind of pragmatic about that approach? I mean, I'm just kind
Well,
of curious.
being a villain, you can do anything you want as long as you
Mhm.
believe it, right? So, I never believe that any of my villains are bad guys.
Mhm.
They're always just in everything that they're doing. So, did I ever think I was going to be I came out to Hollywood to be a comedian. I never thought that, but because I won't do sex scenes or kiss another woman, what does that leave me?
Yeah.
That leaves me being, a Band of Brothers type of character where you're a soldier in the middle of a war,
Mhm.
or you're the villain. Neither one of those you have to kiss any women. So
Mhm.
I said I was going to be the greatest villain in the history of Hollywood, and that
Uh-huh.
was my job. And I think I kind of got there. And then for the last several years, when I started producing films with Rabbi, we started to rethink it and
Mhm.
think, okay, well, how can I get to be the hero in films? How can I kiss the girl at the end of the movie? Because that's what you have to do if you're the hero.
Mhm.
And I finally did that in the last rodeo because I get to kiss my actual wife, Reve, in the film. And so to me, that was kind of the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So, but back to the villains, yeah, it is kind of cathartic because you get to do all these heinous, horrible things. And it makes you realize at the end of the day, boy, am I lucky I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But the harder ones to get rid of at the end of the day are the heroes. Like Joe Wainwright, I'll never get rid of Joe Wainwright from Last Rodeo. I'll never get rid of Buck Compton from Band of Brothers.
Mhm.
As soon as I hear the music from Band of Brothers, I just get kind of emotionally crippled and crushed because I know exactly the thoughts that were going through my head every single moment of the film. Do I remember the lines? No, but do I remember the emotional core and what I was thinking at the time? Yeah, it's like a paint by numbers. I know exactly what number that color was.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to get rid of the heroes because they're much more me than the villains. At the end of the day, the villains are just kind of the overtop and fun and kind of, I just killed 19 guys. What? That's just weird. Yeah,
Mhm.
so for me, yeah, it's a little more, it's easier to play the villains. It's a lot harder to play the good guys because you
Yeah.
really have to dig deep.
This may be a horrible analogy, but in my mid 50s, I started cooking and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm also realizing it's the most humbling thing because everything you get right, you do a dozen things wrong. Now, you've had decades of experience as an actor. You're among the best. Do you feel still like you're learning as you go, picking up different experiences, working with a director, working with a colleague? Do you feel like you're still a student in a way?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm always a student. Jean-Claude Keely, one of the greatest skiers of all time, had a coach all the way to the end because you always need to learn more, always learning more. So I'm always learning more. And acting techniques, you'll laugh. I get bored watching a lot of movies and TV shows because a lot of time the direction isn't great, the story isn't great, the acting isn't great. I'm like, oh gosh, that's just. But every once in a while, I will see, There Will Be Blood, and you'll see Daniel Day-Lewis just tear it up.
Yeah.
Or you'll see certain performances in some films, like there's a TV show, Henry Danger, that my kids just love to watch.
Mhm.
And this guy, this one character, I forget his name. I think his name is Michael in real life, Schwaz on the show. Here's this 5-foot guy who just steals the show because he believes so much in the character and what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I love seeing guys or women just dive into characters. So for me, it's all about learning from other guys or learning from different techniques. But for mostly, it's learning from life and living a full life. And I learn more from my 5 kids than I learn from anybody.
Yeah.
Seeing them go through things and seeing them try things for the first time, or see, there's my daughter, on our first date, and I see on her face, oh gosh, what's going to happen here? Or see my son off in college playing D1 golf, and what goes through his head. And it's those emotions that I draw from. And the last rodeo, you'll see in Last Rodeo, my emotion is on my sleeve. It looks like every 10 seconds that Joe Wainwright is about to lose his marbles and break down and cry because there's just so much going on in his life.
Yeah.
Well, that's my life. That's your life. That's all of our lives. There's so much going on.
Mhm.
But if you give over to trying to understand and embrace all the emotions as an artist, that's what you draw from. So I still feel like I'm just really getting good at acting. I've been doing it for so long, but I'll be better tomorrow than I was today, and I'll be better the day after probably because I love doing what I do, and I don't ever want to let the audience down.
Before we let you go, you're producing films now. We've seen a few already. What can you tease, or what kinds of stories are really intriguing to you at this point in your career? What's missing from the marketplace that your production company may, plug the gap and make possible?
Just good stories, really. So the next one we have, The Wicked and the Righteous, is this big Western that I wrote, this epic Western. It's Cain and Abel in the West. And we're going to do that as soon as we finish season 4 of Tulsa King.
Uh-huh.
And then I have this thriller film that I wrote with my partner, Derek Presley, that we're going to work on next, called Mr. Ponds. Then I have this hysterical gangster film, but that has, all these films have faith in the backdrop, though. So we're not just making faith-based films. We're making really cool movies that have faith as a backdrop and make you think.
Yeah.
And we're not going to stop. That we're allowed to keep making these movies. We're going to keep making these movies. In Angel Studios, that they're our guys, and that I love that Reve and I have an amazing distribution company in Angel. They're allowing us to write the films that we want to write and make the films we want to make. And we're in a really great position right now, and I couldn't be happier, and I couldn't be more blessed. And the more and more we go, the more and more I don't want to let people down. So the harder I work, which is really kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, every time I see you on screen, I know it's going to be an even better movie. So I appreciate the chance to talk to you. Of course, the new movie is Guns N' Moses, coming out July 18th in theaters. Do check it out. So much to enjoy, so much to think about. A really smart, engaging story. You can even take away sort of the real world connections. It's just it's a great mystery, and it's got some beautiful themes built in within. So it just works on so many levels. Neal, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to talking to you more about other projects.
Thanks, Christian. God bless you. See you next time.
Oh, another bonus episode of the Hollywood and Toto podcast is in the can. And of course, I also want you to check out HollywoodInToto.com. It is my website, updated 7 days a week. I've been at it since 2014. Took a little break a few years into it, but rushed right back in, and no plans of quitting anytime soon. I love the site. It is my passion. It is my home base. It is my mission to cover Hollywood from a right-of-center perspective, much like the show.
That's just what Rush Limbaugh said.
Of course, we don't want to chase away our liberal friends, and a lot of the content there and here is apolitical, like this particular episode. But do check it out, because we do need a right of center look on Hollywood. You're not going to get it from Variety or Deadline or The Hollywood Reporter. You're going to get it here.
It is overdue, isn't it?
Well, that's it for the show this time around. And of course, have a remarkable day, a great week. Doctor's orders.